Hey chums, welcome back to the long overdue Game with Chums podcast. I am your host once again, the fabulous, well-lit, bearded Paulus. And joining me for the first time in, say, 2 months is my ever faithful lapdog. The one that the chum that is no one really cares about. They don't get asked to get photos taken with them. So no,
Partially because I'm usually walking away at the time.
Well, we were walking together at the time, but anyway, yeah, that voice you can hear is the is Mr. Roars. How have you been? It's been a while.
It has been a while. I feel like you've been stocking up the insults for the last couple of months.
It's just coming out. It's just all going to come out today, man. Just all the insults.
It's going to be the end of the channel.
Yeah,
all the insults come pouring out. I'll just be like, right, I'm done. That's it.
I'm done with this. I don't make any money from this.
It's no longer a game with chums.
It's just a game.
A game with Paul.
Game with Paul. Yeah, I'll just take over the channel and just drive it to the ground. But yeah, so it's been a while. Obviously, like stuff has happened within the game world and personal lives. Obviously, like illnesses, family, friends, events, and stuff like that. That's sort of eaten at our time. So we couldn't really get together and do a podcast. And sometimes we just plain forgot. But that's both of our faults. So yeah, but
there's also the fact that we usually do this on a Sunday, and then sometimes I'm at my brother's on a Saturday and then coming back on a Sunday. And London traffic being what it is, it takes like 3 hours to go 50 miles. So I end up getting back in the evening, which just doesn't help. But yeah,
it's what it is. London, eh? It is what it is. But anyway, what have you been up to? What have you been playing? Anything? What you've been watching?
I've been watching. I was watching The Expanse recently. It's been on my to-do list for quite a while, and then obviously like when Starfield was coming out, people were watching. There were a lot of people watching The Expanse because they wanted like some sci-fi stuff to tide them over until the game came out. So I thought, yeah, it feels like a good time for me to finally get around to it. So I just finished that recently. I think it took me like 7 months to get through the whole thing, all 6 seasons of it. But it's a really good show. Really enjoyed it, and I'm kind of sad it's over. So I might read the books at some point. I think I finished that about 2 weeks ago, and I haven't started a new show yet. I've got Fallout to watch that I just haven't got around to yet. So that'll probably be next. But then I've just been watching a bit of anime. Finished Frieren, which left a hole in my heart that nothing can patch. And I've been watching recently Delicious in Dungeon, or Dungeon Meshi as it's known in Japan, which is a really fun series. If you haven't seen it or heard anything about it, you should check it out. It's basically a kind of a fantasy / comedy / cooking anime. It's very funny.
Sounds
good. That's ongoing at the moment. So it's about this like group of adventurers that go through a dungeon, and then because they don't have any provisions, they decide to cook and eat all the monsters they kill along the way and make dishes out of them. So each episode is kind of like focused on one or two different dishes that they cook. And it's
pretty grim.
It's a pretty funny series, to be honest. And yeah, it's definitely worth watching. And then Demon Slayer's just come back. There's one episode. I think the next one's today or tomorrow. But there's like a double episode to start the new series, the Hashira training arc. So I've watched that. In terms of games, I've been in a bit of a Final Fantasy mood recently, which, given I play on Xbox and PC, means playing old games that I've already played before. Thanks, Square Enix. Love you for that. But no, I've been playing Final Fantasy 15 because I played it back at launch on PS4. So I never saw any of the updates they did to the story. I never did any of the DLC. And I had it on Xbox One because I'd rebought it on that when the One X update came out. So it got a pretty good update on One X, but it had an unlocked frame rate mode, which was like 45 FPS most of the time. So playing that on the Series X now, it's pretty much locked 60 at all times. So I replayed it on that. I played each of the DLC episodes sort of when each bro leaves the party. So that was a pretty good experience. I just finished the end of it yesterday, and then just went back into the world to get the flying car because I never did that back at launch on the PS4 version. Because I want to go and do the Pitios dungeon, which is like the secret dungeon that you need the flying car to get to, which I obviously never did that either. So I think once I've done that, I'll just leave it there because there's the Adamantoise to fight, but it's like takes like an hour, like hour, 2 hours, or something stupid like that. I just can't be bothered. Usually, when the credits roll in a game, even if if I intend to go back into the game world after the credits roll, as soon as the ending's done, I'm like, oh, I'm done now. Feels like this just kind of ends my desire to play any more of the game. But yeah, I started Crisis Core yesterday as well after finishing 15 because I haven't played the remaster yet, and obviously played it back on PSP way back in the day. It's kind of a weird remaster. I don't know. You've got it, haven't you? Have you played any of it at all?
No,
I got around to it.
no.
They've kind of like visually, it's a pretty good. It looks pretty good, like for the time for now. Like they've redone it visually quite well. You can still tell it's like based on a handheld game from 15 years ago. But the weird thing is they've just used all the original animation and like facial rigging. So you've got fairly high quality assets, but then like low quality animations and facial animation and stuff. So it kind of sticks out a bit more than it would have done otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I've only done like half an hour of it so far. So that's going to be the next thing. And then I've just been sort of plugging away a bit of Diablo 4 and a couple of other things. But I bought, because it was my birthday recently, which I didn't mention, I ended
No,
up
you
getting an
didn't.
ROG Ally. So
Yeah,
yeah, so I've been playing like Diablo on that and stuff. So
yeah,
really enjoying that. It's a very good bit, nice bit of kit.
yeah. Okay. Sounds like. Oh, let's bring that down a bit.
Nice
Um,
view up your nostrils.
yeah. Yeah. That's cool. 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 Yeah. I've
What have
been
you been doing?
nothing. I lie. I watched. I watched the X-Men '97 series
I
on
need to
Disney
check that
Plus.
out as well.
Really good, 10 episodes. I really recommend it if you enjoyed the original animated show. You'll enjoy this because I think it sort of has the same feel. Obviously, different animation style, different voice actors, but it's very well written story, sort of mature and very sad. It's a very sad story,
Mm.
but it's excellent. I was gripped from beginning to end, so I recommend that show. And I also watched the Fallout show, which is on Amazon Prime. So if you have an Amazon Prime account, I would recommend that because it's very good and I enjoyed it. And it's probably one of the best adaptations of a video game I've watched, which is not saying much. You know, you obviously got The Last of Us, but as we say, Last of Us was very easy to sort of
Mm.
adapt because it sort of the game works as a TV show.
Very
So
much.
yeah,
They
very
still had to
much.
put the effort in there. They still did a great job with it. But yeah,
Oh yeah, of
it
course, yeah.
lent itself to an adaptation.
Yeah. I also watched Halo, the Halo TV
Oh,
show.
season two. See.
Yeah, I quite liked it. Funny enough, I
I
quite
actually
liked it.
haven't watched season two yet. I kind of forgot it was out.
It's really good.
I heard it was
Yeah,
better than season one.
there is some parts of it that are a bit uh had in, and obviously it very deviates from the source material quite a bit. But the parts that are Halo are really good, and enjoyed it. And I know people complain about Master Chief being out of the armor a lot, but I kind of because it's if he's the main character, you can't just have a dude in armor with no expression. So I can understand why they chose to have the actor out of the armor a lot, and it sort of does sort of build on his character a bit more, makes him a slightly more human, even though he's a super soldier. But you can still tell he's a super soldier because even out of the armor, he kicks a lot of ass. But yeah, I enjoyed it. What can I say? Not the greatest, but I still thought it was pretty good. So have it. That's how it is. In terms of gaming, I've been playing Baldur's Gate 3. Check it out on our Twitch channel, Game with Chums. I've been streaming that. I've actually had my sister helping me out on some of the parts because she's completed it, and because it's such it's a D&D based on D&D, and choices actually really do matter. And so I've had her sort of sitting beside me, sort of like giving me sort of helpful hints and stuff like that, how to play, getting to grips with the combat, picking up special items and handing it to certain characters, and then taking over that character to have them sort of read a book, and that unlocks stuff. So I would not have known that
Mm.
if it wasn't for my sister telling me about that. So it's really good. I enjoyed it. It has taken me a while to get to grips with the sort of combat system. You know, it's all turn-based dice roll way of playing.
At the mercy
Um,
of the dice.
yeah, I mean, stats are important. Think about how you're gonna equip your team, what sort of spell slots you're gonna give them. It's all very strategic. You can't just go rushing in there and hope to win in the counter because you'll just get wiped out. Even on, I'm playing it on balance, which is just their version of medium, and that's still pretty challenging. So yeah, I enjoyed it. It's taken me a while to get into it, but I'm enjoying the world. I enjoy the characters, and yeah, what can I say? It's a good game. Good game. I can see why it won so many awards and not came out of nowhere, but it was sort of like a sleeper hit in some ways.
Yeah, I don't think anyone expected it to be quite as big as it was. Even
Yeah.
people that love like the Divinity Original Sin games that they put out most recently before that. I don't
Mm-hmm.
think anyone expected it to be quite as big as it was.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it deserves Larian deserves all the success that it brought to them. And obviously they're not going to do Baldur's Gate 4. They're leaving that to a different studio. They want to develop their own IP. And I'm looking forward to what they do next. Will it be as successful as Baldur's Gate 3? Who knows? You know, we just don't know. But yeah, that's what we've been doing in our sad little lives. Speaking of which, in our sad little lives, we will be attending. It's getting to con season, so we'll be attending NCM Comic Con in London on the 24th to the 26th. Uh, Mr. Rawls will be joining me for the Saturday and Sunday event. I'll be there for all 3 days. So I'll be there from Friday to Sunday. If you see us, come say hello, shake our hands, buy us a
Nice
beer because
pint.
we're gonna need it because we're gonna have to be safe conserving money. But yeah, we'll be there, and yeah, we're looking forward to it, and hopefully we'll be at a few more cons coming up. You got LAGC, London Gaming and Anime Con coming up. You got Hyper Japan, which we're not too sure we're gonna go to. We
Last couple
applied,
were bad.
and every good sort of activities behind a paywall. So you buy the ticket, which in itself is like something like 30 quid for a Saturday ticket. And on top of that, you got to pay to actually do the activities. So it can be pretty pricey, man.
Mm.
And they're not, it's not cheap, and it's in London, you know.
And
So
there's
you,
very little to do outside of all
mm,
the add-on stuff. And it's a shame
mm,
because it was previously like, if not our favorite, then one of our like top two cons of the year. And the last couple have just been really bare.
mm,
There's been nothing to do.
it's been below average, you know. And we went to AnimeCon, and that was not great either. But yeah, the Hyper Japan used to be top tier, but now it's sort of mid tier. It's on the same level as sort of EGX. You know what I mean? So EGX has been disappointing as well. We went there last
Mm.
year, and we were bored, man. What can I say? The games weren't great.
There
Obviously,
was lots of, let's say, open space
yep,
in the
lots of it.
convention hall.
I think the
But it's,
convention was too big for it.
yeah, again, it's a massive shame because like the first couple we went to in
Mm,
2013 and 2014 were amazing. They were
mm,
at Earl's Court, which was perfect for it, and they were absolutely rammed full of games and stuff to do.
mm,
And obviously it was around the time of like new consoles coming out, so we got to play like Killer Instinct before it was out and stuff like that, and see PS4 and Xbox One games. And we played Splatoon at one of them. Can't remember which one it was before that came out. We pasted a bunch of kids, which felt really good.
I
And
don't think that was at EGX. I think that was at a Nintendo show. Remember,
no,
I
it
was.
was EGX.
Wait, was he?
It was
Oh, he
in
was, wasn't it? Yeah.
Nintendo's like enclosure in EGX. Because
Oh,
the Nintendo thing we went to was the Switch launch party thing,
oh God, yeah. That was
which
a long
I
time
don't
ago.
think we were doing this at the time, so we don't think we have any video of it.
No, we weren't doing it. We started this channel before, after the Switch got released. I believe, yeah, we did.
Which is a shame
So,
because that would have been a pretty cool video. But maybe
mm,
they'll do one for Switch 2 and we can go to that.
yeah, yeah. But yeah. So yeah, we'll be at LAGC. No, MCM.
MCM.
Yeah, Comic Con this weekend. So come and say hello to us, and yeah, it'll be fun. We'll try and
So
make it fun anyway.
one final note as well. I bought some new mics for it, so I'm going to use those. So hopefully they'll be better. So I bought a pair of
Mm,
wireless lapel mics a little while back, very cheap ones, and I think they were okay, but not great. So I bought some better
mm,
ones. So
mm-hmm.
oh, it's the ice cream man. Sorry, don't know if you could hear that one.
Hey, no, I couldn't hear that. Okay, so let's sort of get onto our topic. I know we haven't done a podcast in a while, but so there's a lot that's gone past that we can talk about, but it's kind of not relevant now. But what is relevant now is the impending destruction of the Xbox brand, because recently Xbox has closed.
Self-inflicted destruction.
Yeah, Xbox has closed their only Japanese studio in Tango DreamWorks. Not Tango
Tango
DreamWorks.
Gameworks.
GameWorks, that's the one. The developers behind Ghostwire Tokyo and Evil Within,
And
that
Hi-Fi Rush, which
and
came out to
Hi-Fi
massive
Rush.
plaudits
Yep. So
just a
that's
year
gone.
ago.
And another one's gone. And one in Austin, in Texas.
Arcane Austin.
Okay, Austin studio
People make
behind
Prey that
Dishonored.
people love.
Yeah, that's gone. So let's talk about that, because the online Discord is huge. They're envisioning. I can understand it. It's with good reason. Hi-Fi Rush was a massive sleeper hit. It's kind of thing that Xbox needed. Obviously, it went over to PlayStation, and but then afterwards, they've closed the studio down. That is
Almost immediately afterward.
So being an Xbox fan is pretty tough at the moment, because not only did they port over one of their best exclusives to their rival, they then proceeded to close the studio down. And that game got so many plaudits, won awards, it did really well, sold well. Then they just went and closed the studio down. And to be honest, it's I know this is a company wide thing. Like gaming studios, publishers have been closing studios down. I mean, there's been a recent closure as well. Who What closure was that? Not the X. It wasn't just Xbox. There was another one afterwards. There was layoffs, I should say. God,
Yeah,
who
there's been
was it?
industry-wide layoffs.
Yeah,
Everybody's been laying people off.
I think EA obviously have done some layoffs. Sony have also closed some studios and done some reshuffling. And so it's not Ubisoft probably going to do that. There's been. It's not just a sort of Xbox thing, but um, if you're looking online, especially on like gaming news outlets and YouTube channels, the hysteria around it has been pretty pretty bad in terms of like jumping on the Xbox and saying Phil Spencer should go. But you should also like sort of. I'm trying to put not positive spin, but trying to look at it from a different perspective, that it's not just Xbox have done it. All pretty much like every sort of major publisher has, restructured, reshuffled, and laid off a lot of employees, which is a shame. Closed down a lot of studios,
And
but
obviously,
because
Embracer has been imploding as well
yes,
in the
Embrace has been.
background.
Yep. So yeah, we can just sort of put this all, make it like, is this the end of Xbox? But it's not the end of them. It's a bad time for gaming, I think, as well. So obviously, there's talks of the high costs of production and the sales not meeting expectations. Because recently, Square Enix have come and out and said the recent Final Fantasy 16 not sold as well as they thought,
And
and
Rebirth as well.
Rebirth is like nowhere near as matched the numbers of
Remake.
remake, because
And
maybe because it,
unsurprisingly, Foam Stars didn't do very well. Who saw that one coming?
yeah.
They
So
should have put that on PC like day one.
and also like the other exclusive PlayStation game, Forsaken, got panned and didn't sell that well.
They closed
So
that studio.
well, there
Well,
they are.
they reabsorbed it back in because it was kind of it was well, it was the team that made Final Fantasy 15, and then
Mm,
obviously like, the director of that, Hajime Tabata, left
mhm,
during the making of Forspoken. Um, when Square like cut all the DLC that he wanted to do for 15, and then he
mhm,
left. I think he took some people with him, and then like the remainder of that studio, Luminous Productions, made Forspoken, which did not do well, and then they kind of got disbanded and reabsorbed back into Square Enix proper. So they're no longer a studio, but all the people got like redistributed. I think. Don't know if anyone got laid
mm.
off. Hopefully not. But yeah,
Yeah.
that was a big flop, unfortunately.
So yeah, that's Square Enix are talking about going multi-platform in the future. Will that mean that Final Fantasy 16 and remake will come to other consoles or other platforms? I know they'll probably go to PC, but will they come to
Yeah.
the Nintendo or Xbox?
Well, the thing with
Don't know.
it's a slight tangent, but the thing with Square Enix's PS4 and 5 exclusives is just kind of dumb because they give them a specific exclusivity window. Like we know that remake was exclusive for a year, and then they've re-upped it for 6 months with the integrate version. But then nothing happened for ages, and then it came out on EGS on the Epic Game Store, which everybody loves. And then 16 was a 6 month timed exclusive, and
Mm,
we're coming up on a year now since it came out. I think it's a year next month, and it's still not out on PC. It was supposed to be 6 months exclusive before it could come to PC. Rebirth is 3 months, and that came out in what, February, and
mm,
that's not out on PC yet. Um,
mm,
so it's not like they go, oh yeah, you can have this period of exclusivity, and then as soon as that ends, we're going to have a new version out. They're not even working on other versions in the background.
mm,
It's just like that. How it just seems like insane mismanagement. If your game's like not meeting your targets on the one platform that you took a money hat to put it on, surely
mm,
you'd have the other version in development ready to go as soon as that exclusivity period is up. But no,
mm,
for them, it's like, oh yeah, here's this exclusivity period, and then when it runs out, I don't know, and just well, I'll think about it, I guess.
mm,
But if 16 was coming out on PC next month, um, you know, that would be a good thing for them and for their financials. But they've just kind of said, yeah, we're kind of doing it, I guess. They haven't like properly officially announced it. So who
mm.
knows when that's going to come. But I mean,
Yeah.
this is something they should have been doing years ago because Capcom, Sega, like Bandai Namco, all the other Japanese developers and publishers have switched to multi-platform development in the last sort of 2 to 5 years, and they're all doing better because of it. Like Capcom are doing really well, Sega are doing much better than they were, and they're building audiences on other platforms for things like Persona and like a Dragon slash Yakuza. And Square Enix is just kind of tanking the value of their own brands by just having them locked to one platform and then not bothering to put them on other platforms when they can.
Mm.
But anyway, big tangent there. I'm just kind of annoyed at Square Enix for being stupid.
Yeah, I mean, like, let's bring it back around to like, because we should talk about Xbox, even though we are Xbox fans. It's not good what they done. I mean, people are saying, well, you bought these purchase, spent billions purchasing these publishers, then you to then close down their studios, even though
Mm.
Hi-Fi Rush was a big hit. Ghostwire Tokyo, obviously that came out on PlayStation, but that still did moderately well.
Did critically well.
Yeah. And yeah, for them to then close those studios, especially they're talking about making a push into Japan a bit more, because obviously the last generation and this current generation, there hasn't been much of a Japanese presence, because obviously the 360 did have quite a few exclusive Japanese sort of
And the
games.
OG as well.
Yeah, a lot of the OG Xbox had Japanese exclusive games. So for Phil to say, where we want to make a push in, branch out into Europe and into Japan, and sort of get into, sort of dig more into that sort of market, it seems a bit counterproductive when you close down your only sort of successful Japan studio. So who knows, man? Like there's an Xbox showcase coming up in June. Hopefully they will talk a bit more about their future and what they intend to do, because there's still rumors about them bringing out more of their games multi-platform. But what's the point? They brought out Hi-Fi Rush and they just closed that studio down. So I don't know. Still pushing. It seems like they they're pushing more for their sort of Game Pass sort of feature to grow more. They want to expand that and obviously get that into more people's living rooms. So, obviously got PC. They want to go more into mobile. They got the Xbox sort of ecosystem, and there's talk of them releasing an handheld. Don't know how that's going to go, but it's it came as a bit of a shock and unexpected that they've closed down 4 studios within the Bethesda sort of library, or ZeniMax sort of library umbrella. I know they sort of absorbed one, not absorbed
Roundhouse,
one,
I think, was it?
yeah, sort of redistributed that one and into ZeniMax umbrella. But yeah, it was kind of came as a shock and big surprise. I mean, how well did it sell? I mean, I don't know the numbers for Hi-Fi Rush, but it did reach a lot of players, especially when it came out on the other platforms as well. So what determines a success? Because some people are saying that the Final Fantasy games sold pretty well, but didn't reach expectations of the for sales figures. So you got to really like make big numbers to be considered a out and out success. I mean, there's talk of like PlayStation wanting to branch more into PC, have their games that release day one on PC to make more revenue from their games. There's not talk about it because obviously PlayStation focusing on their console, but I do believe that they want to, instead of bringing out games later on to PC, they want to sort of bring it out sort of day one like Xbox do, which can make some sense if they want to make more money. I mean, those Steam, like a lot of players are predominantly, a lot of players, there's a big sort of PC player base. And
That's the
for
thing.
them,
There's a lot of people on PC that won't buy a console. And if the games aren't on PC, they're just like, it's fine. I'm not that fussed. So you got they're the customers that you need to go to rather than try and bring them to you. But I think what Sony will probably end up doing is try and split the difference and still have a period of where it's console only and then PC later. But they'll probably try and shorten that a bit because it's kind of 2 years at this point, which is just absurdly long. So I could see them going for like 6 months to a year later to PC. But I mean, obviously they've just put Ghost of Tsushima's just come out on PC. Horizon Forbidden West came out on PC not too long ago, like a month ago, maybe 2 months ago. So they are investing in PC a fair bit, but they're way too delayed. I think they need to shorten that gap. I think that's probably what they'll do. But yeah, on Xbox, I think as you kind of alluded to, what's different about them doing these layoffs is, the fact they've just spent 80 billion or something buying up loads of studios. I mean, when did they close the ZeniMax acquisition? 2020. So like 4 years afterwards, those teams like Arcane Austin and and Tango have released one game each on Xbox platforms. Obviously, had Ghostwire Tokyo in between for Tango, but that was originally a PS5 timed exclusive. They've basically let them do one game and then close them down 4 years later. It's just so that's just galling, especially when people kind of been believing the lines about, oh yeah, Game Pass provides um, safety for studios because it doesn't matter how much they sell, then it just matters that they bring value to the subscription. And obviously the subscription isn't growing as much as Microsoft want, and they're looking to just cut stuff. I think there
Mm.
was someone on, I think it might have been Tom Warren at The Verge that mentioned this. It might have been Jez Corden at Windows Central, one of the two, I think, said that the reason those two studios were chosen was because they didn't have anything in development at the moment. They were both pitching new projects. So they thought it would be safer to close them down because they're not just like losing all that effort that would have gone into like half developing a game.
Mm.
And that's that kind of brutal calculus that I think has really pissed people off. They've gone on this huge buying spree, had very little to show for it at this point, and then they've just closed studios down. And I see a lot of people being um, not particularly excited now for the showcase, and I kind of get that because there's going to be a feeling among a lot of people like, well, how can you trust anything that the Xbox executives say at this point? How can you get excited for games if they're just going to close the studio down straight after they release them? And I think something like that is going to take a very long time for them to kind of start to turn around. So reputation is in the absolute gutter at the moment, and honestly, it's deserved
Mm.
because this is coming on the back of like putting their exclusives on other platforms, which you're not going to find me arguing against more people getting to play games, but it is going to devalue the platform. There's no argument against that. If you put your games on another platform, people aren't going to buy yours. It's as simple as that. So it kind of looks like from the outside in that they're almost trying to kill their own platform at the moment. So I can completely understand people just wanting to tell Phil Spencer and all the other people at the top of Xbox to get lost
Mm.
because people are just kind of, for years it's been like next year will be the year, just wait, the games are coming. And then they make all these acquisitions and people are like, there's definitely games coming now. And then a couple of games come out and then they switch, they completely. So yeah, the showcase is on June the 9th. Obviously they're going to show stuff that they've got coming out like Indiana Jones and Avowed probably. Might see Perfect Dark and stuff like that. But people are just going to be extremely skeptical whether any of them are going to come out now. And if they are, whether they're just going to hit all platforms. And yeah, like I say, the trust is just gone. They've just destroyed it. Like it feels like they're trying to destroy their own platform by completely devaluing it to the point that, I mean, if they start putting everything on PlayStation, who's going to buy an Xbox? At that point, Xbox as a platform is dead, and they might as well go third party. So it feels like they don't really know what they're doing, to be honest. And I think it's gonna. I honestly don't know if there is a way back from that level of lost trust, but I don't know. What do you
So
think about that?
it just seems like obviously the Xbox One launch was a disaster, and it just went sort of downhill from there. Even though they did have some good games come out for that platform, but I just think like people have long memories, and they just never really forgave Matt, who was a
On Matt Trick.
yeah at the time. He handled. I mean, that guy just pretty much destroyed the Xbox brand on that launch, and the way he handled himself afterwards. It's just, and when you think finally they've made the right moves, they've done the right things, they said the right things, they put their money where their mouth is. People say they have no studios, and they went out and bought a bunch of studios and publishers. They were cooking for a long time, and then releasing Game Pass, which seemed like a really good idea. Then they sort of release some. They started releasing games like obviously Starfield, even though there's a lot of games that were in development before acquisitions, but now they started to release them. Starfield got mixed reception, but generally people quite liked it, and obviously that's got the patch out now. Got game performance come out, even though people said that should have come out day one. but it's out now, so that game is starting to have a sort of like a little mini revival. Obviously, it wasn't as bad as say like Cyberpunk or anything like that when that first got released, but there you are. But it just like it seems like they take certain two steps forward and two, 3 steps forward and 2 steps back. I mean,
It's
there
the
was
other way around at the moment. It's
yeah,
2 steps forward and three
forward
steps
and
back.
3 steps back. Yes, and doing that is like when they're building up trust. People are saying, "Oh, let them cook." They've got all these studios. We've been seeing glimpses of what they're going to release, and then they go and close down one of their best studios, or a couple of their best studios. And it just seems like, what's the point? Why spend all this money for you just to close down these studios? People could think, well, if you didn't make these acquisitions, they could still be around, and it kind of makes sense. I know that way of thinking, and if for them just to buy these studios and have their best game come out multi-platform, Sea of Thieves I can understand because it's an online game. Um, Man, like when that got released, people were panning it. Then it got really popular. Now people on PlayStation are playing it, and it's one of their best-selling games on the on PlayStation. So people do like it. It's just like that typical. Oh, it's because it's on that platform. We don't like it, and now it's on the rival platform. They're like, oh, this is great, and they are actually having a good time. There's talk about maybe Helldivers 2 coming out on Xbox. There's been talk about that. Don't know. Maybe I could maybe see that happening. But single player games that kind of left a sour taste in my mouth when that was released or was said to be released when Hi-Fi Rush was going to be released on PlayStation, and then afterwards they just closed the studio down anyway. So it was just like, what was the point? You might as well just kept it exclusive if you're just going to close this bloody studio down. Yeah, but yeah, they Xbox have announced an opening of a new studio in Poland, which has got lots of like veterans from PlayStation coming over to work on a new AAA IP,
A lot of
an
CD
original
Project
IP.
Red people as well.
Yep, got people from Naughty Dog going over there as well. So maybe that was something to cushion the blow, saying, "Oh look, we've closed 4 studios, but we've opened a new studio." So it's
I
just
think
like,
this has been in the planning for a while because it's under
mm,
Activision, and I think
mm-hmm,
there were rumors of it about 2 years ago.
mm-hmm,
And obviously, like it's much cheaper to run a studio in Poland as well.
mm-hmm. Maybe
Uh,
that's but yeah, it's just for them to. There's always been this like ever since Xbox One days, like this sort of narrative about Xbox, and will they be able to compete? Will they be able to recover? And you think they're starting to turn a corner, and then they seem to go back and
and then they
regress.
set fire to it.
Yeah, and there's a talk about people wanting Phil Spencer to be replaced. Uh, it's a hard one to think because I'm kind of sure that that's just gone a bit over Phil Spencer's head. It must be like higher ups who made that decision. I'm pretty sure he probably wanted to keep them open, but ultimately it's happened in his watch. So he's got to take some responsibility.
Yeah.
As
Well, I
much
mean,
as
in Microsoft, there's only one person above him, and that's the CEO, Satya Nadella. He's on the
mm,
senior leadership team. Um,
so,
but I don't. But I mean, obviously, like the chief financial officer of the entire Microsoft organization is going to probably have more pull than Phil Spencer,
mhm,
despite the fact that he's technically on the same level. But yeah, I imagine he didn't want to close those studios, but he's still the head of the gaming business, and it has to fall on him.
mhm,
At the end of the day, I mean, you mentioned like the Xbox One gen. I mean, they ended up reaching nearly 60, around about 60 million, I think, somewhere between 55 and 60 million Xbox Ones sold. Right now, I think they're somewhere like 25, 28 million series consoles. And I think they're probably struggling to figure out why that is. Like their worst gen was the Xbox One gen. Didn't really do much in terms of compelling software, had the weaker hardware for half the gen. And then by the time the One X came out, it didn't really matter. And then they fired off this gen with like the more powerful console, the better designed console in terms of aesthetics, um, the smaller console, despite being a bit more powerful. They announced the Bethesda acquisition right before pre-orders for the new gen consoles came out, and then they're doing worse this gen. So they're probably thinking, how are we doing worse? And I think at this point there is a decent chunk of the gaming audience that just doesn't pay any attention to Microsoft. It just like doesn't matter what you do, I don't care. I'm not going to buy an Xbox. I just have no interest in it. And I don't know what they can do to turn that around. But setting fire to their own platform, as they seem to be doing at the moment, probably isn't the right answer. So either they need to be clear with the fan base, because it's not fair. Like the worst thing is the people that just got laid off and lost their jobs and lost their livelihood. But also the fans kind of deserve better than this constant flip-flopping as well, because people have put probably thousands of pounds, dollars, euros, maybe not euros, pretty much dead all over Europe, the console, but people have put thousands into the platform over the last 20 years. And now it looks like Xbox are trying to set it on fire. So they need to be clear with people what the plan is. Are they going to go third party? And to be frank, if they're going to put more stuff on other platforms, they might as well go third party, because that will be the death of the console. Nobody's going to buy an Xbox that has games that you can buy on every other machine. Why would you? You'd be insane to do that. But yeah, the stupid thing is Hellblade 2 is out as of recording this in 2 days. It'll probably be out by the time this is up. And if that gets like really good reviews and Xbox execs come out and say, oh yeah, it hit all our metrics for success, no one's going to believe them, because that's exactly what they said about Hi-Fi Rush. So as much as I don't want to be like dooming about another studio, I am slightly worried for Ninja Theory. I don't want to say that. I don't want to feel like I'm contributing to negativity online about it. But yeah, I don't know. The main thing is nobody's going to believe Xbox when they come out and say what a success Hellblade 2 has been, if they do. So it's kind of cast a pall over that game's launch as well. And obviously the upcoming showcase, which is 3 weeks away.
Yeah. I mean, I was going into that showcase really optimistic.
I was.
Yeah, I was really looking forward to it. And I was like, yeah, let's see. Here we go.
They're going to be firing on all cylinders.
And then this is sort of really deflated me. So yeah, it's not good. Not good look, and not a good way to start the second half of the year, really. And obviously with Hellblade coming out, that should have been a big triumph, and now people just be like, oh, what if it doesn't do well? Or even if it does do well, are they going to close down Ninja Theory? You know, from what I've seen of the game, it looks great. I'm just a bit annoyed that they don't sort of push it a bit more. You don't see much.
Thing. They don't market their games at all.
Like you see so much advertisement for the TV shows. I saw so much advertisement for Halo show. But for their games, you don't see it in billboards, buses, or anything like that.
You know why the Halo show and the Fallout series got a lot of marketing? Because there was another party involved.
Yeah, you had like
Paramount. Down to Xbox, no one would know they existed.
Yeah, Paramount pushing Halo. You had Amazon Prime pushing pushing Fallout. Yeah, but with like you got their big game coming out with Hellblade, and the only places you seem to see it is online, but not out on the streets.
That's the only advertising they do these days is just like on YouTube or TikTok or something like that, like quick pre-roll ads. They're preaching to the converted. The people that they want to see those ads aren't going to see them. They're only going to be seen by the people that already know that the game is coming out.
Yeah, they
need to be advertising like Sony and Nintendo do. But stuff. When was the last time you saw an Xbox advert on TV? I honestly can't remember. I feel like it's been years.
I haven't seen an Xbox ad on the London Underground, London buses, the London billboards, nowhere like that. So it is like kind of annoying because PlayStation still do it, Nintendo still do it.
You have to push your damn games. You have to get behind them and show confidence in them, and make people aware that they exist and they're coming out, and they don't do that, and they haven't been doing that for years. And then they
Mm-hmm.
wonder why shit don't sell because you're not telling people it exists.
Mm.
Like it really infuriates me that they don't bother to market their stuff
Yeah.
when everyone else does. Like I always see PlayStation and Nintendo ads on the TV,
Mm-hmm.
and I think the last time I even saw anything with like an Xbox ident on it was Diablo 4 because they had marketing for that, and it was just a Diablo 4 ad and then a quick Xbox like splash
Oh.
screen at the end of it. So at least do that for your own damn games. They
Mm,
don't. Where was the Starfield marketing?
exactly.
I saw that on a couple of buses. That's about it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Okay. All right. Just yeah, it's annoying, mate. It's I mean, I'm always trying to look on the positive side, but at the moment it's a bit hard to be an Xbox fan because I don't think PlayStation. I know they sold quite a lot of consoles. They've had some hits, but I don't think they're doing it as well as PlayStation 4.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So I think it was a good opportunity for Xbox to sort of get back
Brought back
in.
some market share.
Yeah, get back in there, sort of thing. Because the player base for PlayStation 5 is not nowhere near as big as PlayStation 4. A lot of people are still playing on their PlayStations 4. So I think it was just a bit of it's a bit of a missed opportunity to sort of claw its way back and get back amongst it. Really,
I think that's
and
another issue that the industry's kind of dealing with at the moment. There was a news story the other day about half of Sony's monthly active users are on PS4 still, and it's because of stuff like Fortnite and um, those big forever games that
mm,
increasingly most of the gaming audience has been captured by those games and they're not playing anything else. And that's
mm,
partly why you're seeing stuff like Final Fantasy 16 and 7 Rebirth not doing as well as they're expected to because most people are just keeping hold of their old console and well maybe not most but a good a, a noticeable chunk of people are just keeping hold of their old consoles and playing stuff like Fortnite constantly and nothing else is getting a look in. And
mm,
it's just there was another thing I saw earlier that apparently like some firm had calculated like the amount of time spread across different games and even that Baldur's Gate 3 which was huge accounted for something like 0.6% of all in-game time across like the industry. Not even 1% of the time spent in gaming was spent on Baldur's Gate 3
mm,
over the last year, I think it was. And it's because
mm,
more and more people, I mean, like you've got kids coming up on mobile games and they're playing probably like Call of Duty on mobile and Fortnite on mobile and stuff like that. And they're playing these kind of quick to get in and out kind of games and stuff like Fortnite is that kind of game, but on console. So you've got a whole generation of people coming in, I think, that are kind of not looking for the kind of games that most of us old heads are. So I think that's going to be an issue.
yeah. Games are too long these days, man. Jesus Christ. Yeah, every game has to be over 100 hours now. Shoot.
Speaking of which, I just passed 100 hours on Assassin's Creed Odyssey. That game is too long.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, not a big fan of Assassin's Creed. I haven't played it since number two, even though I do. I've got some of the newer ones. I think you got me a birthday present. I think you got me Odyssey or
It
the
is,
other.
it is a very good game, that
Mm,
and Origins. I really like the series, but there's too many of them and they are too long.
mm. But yeah, so what's the future hold for Xbox? What does it hold? Is it still going to be a developer? Is it still going to develop hardware, or are they going to go third party like Sega and just sort of call it a day? I mean, what's their plan? Are they going to plan to sell off the Xbox brand to maybe another company like Google or Apple, which was a rumor at one point? What are Microsoft planning to do with Xbox? What is their end goal? Maybe it should be sold off to to someone another sort of, because I mean Google are looking to get into the sort of gaming market. So is Amazon.
Well, they tried
Well,
with
they tried
Stadia.
to. They tried exactly, but then they
It
could.
crashed and burned.
They've got the money to buy the Xbox brand from Microsoft, especially if they're looking to like sell. I mean, maybe like with someone like literally with the most new search engine in the world, that would maybe help sort of spread it out a bit. Maybe that will get people's trust into the Xbox brand. Who knows? You know, like what's this I don't know if they have the sort of they're interested in gaming as much as they used to be. Maybe they find it's cost too much money. Maybe the future, maybe they're more invested in Chat GPT. You know, that's what they seem to be interested in AI.
Everyone's going nuts over AI, though, aren't
Yeah.
they? That's a
So
big thing at the moment.
who knows, man? Who knows? It's expensive. It's expensive to produce games. I mean, I think the game industry in itself is having a hard time. It's not just Xbox. I mean, like we said earlier, everyone's laying off. They're bemoaning the cost of development, games going over budget, not meeting expectations. Games cost more than bloody movies. So it's well, AAA games. Um, you know,
That's the thing. They're taking longer to make, costing more to make, and then selling to fewer people,
mm-hmm,
despite the fact that obviously the addressable audience has grown, but
mm,
it's not grown specifically on console. It's mainly like mobile is a lot of the growth.
yeah.
And obviously you can't really make AAA games work on mobile because people aren't going to pay like no one's going to pay 70 quid for a game on a mobile phone.
Well, that's what
But
there's that talk of the Xbox handheld, the rumored talk of the handheld, and how would that work? Would that work? Would that sort of work with mobile sort of gaming? Then what's the point of that? And people just play
no,
on
it'll
their
be a
mobiles.
PC. It'll be a PC in a shell like the Steam Deck or the ROG Ally or the Lenovo Legion Go. But
Mm,
the question is, will it be like a handheld Xbox and play like have the Xbox OS on it and play Xbox games, or will it be a handheld PC like those other ones and just have like the Windows Store on it? And then
mm,
I don't know. I mean, I feel like I've got my handheld Xbox now with the ROG Ally because it can play. You can install games from the Windows Store and use Game Pass and stuff on it. But I'll be interested to see if they do it because I like the idea of handheld PCs. Obviously, I've got that in the Steam Deck now. But yeah, it remains to be seen what they're going to do. Maybe they're just going to go in a direction of like making branded PCs and drop console completely. That I could kind of see happening. I don't think they're going to sell the Xbox brand because it is still a pretty valuable brand in terms of like consumer awareness as far as Microsoft are concerned. Um, but they're obviously going to pivot to something else. I could see them just like going, all right, we're going to just make some branded PCs. And the games will be on that, but then they'll also be on PlayStation and Switch 2 or whatever. That's kind of the way I'm thinking it's going to go. I think that's what a lot of people are thinking at the moment because they do seem intent on killing their own console platform.
mm.
So that's probably the only way they can go, I think. But we'll just have to wait and see what happens. And in the meantime, no one's going to trust anything that comes out of Phil Spencer's mouth. No one's going to feel excited about upcoming games because they might think the studio is going to close down. And yeah, the only people to blame for that are Microsoft and Xbox.
We were singing the praises of Phil Spencer. I think everyone was. Yeah. And now he's public enemy number
Public
one
enemy's
in.
number one.
Yeah, it's funny how these things happen. I mean, you
I
do.
think he's sincere about the stuff he says, but he's
Mm,
just kind of constrained by the fact that he works at Microsoft and the realities that kind of
mhm.
brings with it.
Well, the only time will tell, and we'll wait and see. And we'll 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 I'll watch the Xbox showcase.
Yeah, we'll probably stream it again
Uh,
because we usually do.
yeah,
Well, it'll
so
just be a bit of a weird vibe, that's all.
yeah, I think it's on a Sunday. It is on a
Yeah, it's
Sunday, isn't it?
June 9th, I think it is.
Hmm. So that'd be good for everyone. We can stream that. You can come and join us on our stream on Game with Chums, Twitch, Game with Chums. Come and grab a cold one, grab some snacks. We'll sit there, watch, and then discuss after. Yeah. And if you want to have a good moan or have a good cheer, come and join us. We'll be good.
I want to try and be positive while the showcase is on, at least. I don't want to be sitting there like being like hyper negative, and so I hate that kind of stuff online. How everyone's like super negative and cynical.
Yeah,
I don't want to be like that.
I don't want to be like that, man. But yeah, I think that's a good place to leave it there. I do know that we want to watch the final day of the Premier League here in England. So yeah, we're gonna leave it there. I think we had a good discussion. I mean, we can go on, but I think it's just we're going to repeating ourselves, and we're just going to sort of get ourselves depressed. We know it's a bad situation with Xbox. It's a bad situation with the game industry in general. Yeah, so hopefully the June showcase will be a bit more, will be positive, and we can. I just hope they just clear up what they plan to do.
Don't think they will, but I'd like that too.
Yeah. So anyway, like we said, we'll be attending LAGC MCM Comic Con on the 24th to the 26th of May, which is a bank holiday weekend here in the UK. So yeah, come if you're around, come and say hello. Yeah, and yeah, we look forward to seeing you guys there. But yeah, again, you can listen to this podcast on most streaming platforms apart from iTunes, and obviously you can watch the video version, which we're on now on YouTube, on our YouTube channel. So yeah, thanks for watching, and we'll see you again in the next one. Bye.